Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Spontaneous Brilliance Podcast. One of my daughters got me thinking this weekend about potential. She said, you should be doing a podcast on pure potentiality. So guess what? That's what we're doing this podcast on. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to say about pure potentiality, but let's see what comes out, okay? I guess because my kids are reflecting that to me, and my kids are all in their 20s or 30s, but obviously they have heard me talk about that a lot. And much like the thing that I'm always repeating to them and to you, that we all have 100% responsibility for our choices, for the life that we are living here on the great stage of life, for the character that we're playing. We have a responsibility to and for our purpose. So I'm always saying that, and I'm always talking about the universe being limitless, us being limitless, the potential of a moment being limitless. The story, the possibilities are unbounded in every moment. To me, potential means this field of infinite possibility, that you are in potential every moment of getting into or of being in alignment with what you came here to do. When we are experiencing our potential, when they say somebody lived up to their potential, right? When somebody is experiencing the potential of a moment, it has to be because they're there offering. They are there engaging in that moment. They are vibrationally in alignment with their soulful self. So the character and the player are in sync at that moment. And that means that you're vibrating in alignment with your sacred purpose. Some people are totally joyful and in alignment, and they have what some people would think of as very little. When you are living your purpose, the outward trappings of it really are not the point. You have the potential in every moment to create consciously whatever you choose to create. You have the potential in every moment to view it, to take the attitude toward whatever is happening that you choose to take. Viktor Frankl said, our greatest freedom is the freedom to choose our attitude. And we have that in every moment. And if we take an attitude, if we take a perspective that we are limitless, if we remind ourselves that the only limits are the ones that we have decided we agree with, then we can start to move toward that pure potentiality. If we recognize that, to refer back to some old analogies that I made in Spontaneous Brilliance, if we recognize that most of the time in our lives, we are the airplane thinking that the pilot's just along for the ride. We think with this character that we are playing here, that our soulful self came here to play, to experience through. We think that that's who's in charge, that this egoic self is what's in charge, or that the airplane is flying itself and the pilot's just along for the ride. But when we recognize that that pilot is the guide, is who is steering us on this journey, and is who actually put the engine into the engaged position, right, that got us off the ground in the first place. We are here because our soulful self, our own essence, our perfect spark of divine energy chose to cast itself in this story, to experience whatever we came here and we are experiencing, not to hang out and kind of be pissy until we get to what we think we want to experience from an egoic perspective, but to find the limitless possibility in whatever this moment is. That is the key. And the first way that we do that, I think, is by living in playful curiosity. When we live in playful curiosity, we're living without judgment. We remember the oft quoted by me line in Hamlet, there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. When we play with curiosity, we remember that there is a reason why they call it a play, that thing on the stage or that thing on the great stage of life. This is a play. This is a story. This is something we are acting within. We are a character within the story. And the beautiful thing is, it's a story of our own creation. So when we don't like it, we can rewrite it. But we have to have curiosity. We have to have wonder. We have to have imagination. We have to be willing to say, what if? And that curiosity doesn't only apply to the future or to what someone else is doing, but that curiosity applies to us. We need a healthy, energized, beautiful, playful curiosity about ourselves, not a judgment. That's how we live judgment-free, is we stay in playful curiosity. We don't judge ourselves based on what we just did or what we want or what we're trying to do. We stay in playful curiosity about it. What is that? Where is that coming from? What is that feeling? What is that spark that I'm feeling? Okay, I just got a spark. I just got an idea about a book I want to write. Now, a lot of us will kind of think about that for a few minutes, decide why we can't do it or we can't do it right now, or somebody might not like it, or it might be a good idea, but maybe I already read something about that or whatever. And we start thinking of the reasons why we're going to block it. Instead of being in playful curiosity, finding something to write on or opening the memo on our phone and voice memo and just start talking, start writing, start exploring the idea, have playful curiosity into the idea. I had a phrase come into my mind years ago, a rhymed line. I didn't know what it related to, what it had to do with anything. And the line was, it was a curious malady the young girl had to bear. It made it rather difficult to comb or brush her hair. That, for some reason, a lot of years ago, that came into my mind. That is now a children's book that is coming out later this year. It's a 40-page rhymed poem. And it's a lovely, lovely, wonderful thing. But I had to have playful curiosity, truly playful curiosity, because it's a weird story, I got to tell you. But I had to apply playful curiosity to, where's that phrase coming from? What is that? What is that? Most of us walk down the street, we have all kinds of random thoughts. Or we're driving down the road, all kinds of random thoughts. Or we're in the shower, all kinds of random thoughts. And there's actually some science, apparently, that part of the reason why we have so many ideas in the shower is because of the ions that are floating around because of the water. I don't know what I'm referring to, but I do remember reading that somewhere. And I think that that's wonderful because I always have wonderful ideas in the shower. I always have lots and lots of ideas. If I don't step out of the shower, grab a voice memo on my phone or walk to my laptop or whatever and start putting that somewhere or jot a note in my day planner, something, if I don't jot it down somewhere, it comes and it goes, right? And we like to think that when those ideas come floating past us that we're going to hang on to them. Not so much. It doesn't happen that way, right? It's like when my daughter said on the weekend, you should do a podcast on pure potentiality. I had to write down pure potentiality in my little day planner that I had in my purse at the time. I grabbed it out. I wrote that down. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Or I'd be sitting here talking about something else, but it wouldn't be that. But every moment, every thought, everything that comes to us, if we approach it with that playful curiosity, with wonder, if we apply our imagination to it, because remember, imagination is the bridge to your soul. That is how your soulful self talks to you. If you let it, if you let that connection be direct, it's not about your meditation having to be a specific thing, or you having to have a specific mantra, or you having to sit in a specific chair or a position or whatever. It's about you open up your imagination and let it flow. And that is where that connection is where the wonder comes in. Okay? The what if. What if? Okay? So I'm going to ask you, are you joyful in this moment? Are you curious in this moment? Are you in wonder in this moment? What thoughts are coming to you right now? You can push pause on this podcast. You can push pause right now. Jot those ideas down. Don't think, oh yeah, she's telling me that I should be acknowledging these ideas. Oh, look at that idea. Oh, there it goes, right? Don't do that. If you need to push pause because something wonderful and potentially brilliant, because we have lots and lots of brilliant thoughts in a day, right? Of those essentially 60 to 20,000 actionable thoughts in a day, for God's sake, don't let the brilliant one just sail on out the window. Grab it. Do something with it. Are you playing? I asked if you're joyful. I asked if you're curious. I asked if you're in wonder. I'm asking you, are you playing? Are you playing full out at your life? Are you committing to be in joyful play? In curious, joyful play? Why do children have such a good time all by themselves? It's because nobody told them yet they're not supposed to, that they're supposed to have something external entertaining them, that they can't just look at a block and make something out of it. When we allow right now, in this moment, our imagination to engage, our possibility to engage, our joyful, curious wonder to engage, that's when we are creating. And we're creating consciously. When we're playing right now. Are you serious and mature? Have you let fear and rules and comparison teach you what you are not going to do, what you are not going to be, what you are not going to have, what you're not doing, what you're not being, what you're not having? We want to let go of that blocking. We want to be offering and accepting in every moment. Are you curious? Not about what others are doing, but about what's possible in your world. Are you curious about what is really going on inside of you? What do you really think? What do you really see? What do you really feel that is different from whatever other people are seeing, whatever other people are doing? Because the different in you, that's the wonderful part. I'm going to pull that word apart too, just like I pulled apart response able. I'm going to pull apart wonderful, okay? Because you are wonderful. You are. You're magnificent. You're wonderful. But you are wonderful. You are full of wonder. Use it. Don't ignore it. What can you do with your different? What can you do with what you find when you get curious about yourself? When you get joyful about the difference in you, when you celebrate what is different, what do you feel? And notice I am not saying think, okay? Because when we think, sometimes we get really blocky about it. What do you feel is the reason that you chose to have your different? Okay, now let's slow down and just look at that question for a second, okay? Because your soulful self cast you in this role. Every quality, every characteristic, everything that you came onto this planet with, your soulful self chose it. So what do you feel is the purpose for the different that you chose to be? I don't know if I've ever mentioned this in a podcast. I didn't for years talk about it at all. And I'll tell you why. I saw auras, as far as I know, from birth. I just always saw auras. Everybody had an aura. Plants had an aura. Everything had auras, right? And I thought that's the way the whole world looked to everybody. I had no reference point for any understanding of that not being the way everybody saw everything. So when I was about 8 or 9 years old, I saw a program on television that was the idea of an aura. They were talking about Carillion photography, where you like put your hand on a negative and it shows the energy around that. And this was 1968 or 69, somewhere in there. And so it wasn't something that people talked about. And when the people on the talk show were asking, how do you know that that's a real thing? The guy that was taking the photographs said, well, some people can actually see that aura. And then the joke was made that, what did they have to be doing in order to see that, And I realized in that moment, I'm different. And my reaction was not to like go find my parents, who, God bless them, probably would have, listened and just sort of, found a way to incorporate that into their perception of me. But even if they didn't know what an aura was, but I didn't. I shut down. I hid it. I never told anybody about it. And I became this teenager who was one thing out in public and another thing all by myself. So at 14, 15, 16, I'm like, out doing, what other people are doing in the world at 14, 15, 16 in 1970, 4, 5, and 6. And then I come home and I'm reading Emmett Fox and I'm reading Joseph Campbell. I was reading the Tao. I was, and that was me behind closed doors. But that was not what I was willing to show because I was afraid. And then because that was the story I was telling, that was something that needed to be hidden, I didn't go find humans that would accept it. I didn't accept it in myself. I didn't accept all the intuition. I didn't accept all that stuff. I didn't accept all the things that would come to me all the time. I was so not going to do that. And every time I did, like at different incremental times when I was a teenager or even in my 20s, every time I did sort of step out and let somebody know it, it would come back to bite me. I'd become like my least favorite time was when I sort of became the parlor game for like friends to gather and then them go, ooh, what do you see? And, it's hard to be just one of the group when that's what's happening. But it wasn't that I wasn't supposed to have that, or it wasn't that was done to me. It wasn't that everybody has the ability to see auras. Everybody has intuition. Everybody has what we would refer to as psychic abilities. Everybody has all that stuff. Everybody. Most people don't notice it, right? They aren't aware of their own ability in that regard. It can be cultivated, but you could probably guess if you had the awareness that was different than my afraid 8-year-old awareness. If you have the awareness that I'm asking us to each have right now, if that is happening to you and that is readily available to you, just like if you can sing or if you can swim fast or you can, or you build things well, or you have a mind for math or whatever it is that comes naturally to you and brings you joy, right? And it will, if you don't step away in fear from your talents. And sometimes that can be what society sees as a little weird, like mine at that time was a little weird in society, or at least I thought it was. And in 1960, yeah, it kind of was. Now, if an 8-year-old walked up to you and told you they were seeing auras, anybody listening to this podcast would go, really? Cool. Because if you're listening to this podcast, you're already open to that notion, right? And there's just a lot more openness to it. But when I was 8 years old, that was not an open thing. But that does not mean that my soul did not choose to have me at birth have that awareness. Otherwise, it wouldn't be there. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been there. Now, I didn't respond to that awareness well once I realized the way society was looking at it. But, I also wouldn't have the story to tell now. It all becomes whatever it becomes, right? In a parallel universe, maybe there's a version of me that did go ahead and embrace it at 8, and who knows what that version of me might have experienced. But if we can live with that playful curiosity, if I had seen what I could do with it and all the other things that came with it, not just the auras, but all the other things that were coming at that time, if I had used the playful curiosity, then rather than shut it down, who knows what I might have realized then that it took me, 30, 40, 50 years to get comfy with. And that has to do with owning it. So when we play with the playful curiosity, that's the way to explore the potentiality in a moment. But the next thing to do is own it, otherwise known as taking 100% responsibility for it. Because we are born in a circumstance we chose. By we, I mean the soulful self, right? The essence. You came here to experience this, whatever you're experiencing, whatever you were born into, whatever you were born into, whatever you were born with, as, whatever was coming through you. You were born to experience that. You were not born to be solving problems or stopping things or holding them back or getting rid of them or repairing them. We can know that everything that we think of as a hindrance or a problem is an opportunity of our choosing, right? If we embrace the obstacles, if we know that everything is an offer. It is an offer from ourself to ourself, from our soulful self to our egoic self. It is what the player put into the character for them to work with so that this experience could be had. Okay? Everything is an opportunity of our choosing. And we, as our soulful self, as any good playwright, we chose the backstory. We chose the things that we are bringing onto the planet. And we chose the history that our family has. And we chose the given circumstances that we're in. We not only choose the dialogue and the characters and the plot and the conflict and all of that when we place it on the stage, but every playwright chooses the backstory and they choose the given circumstances. So they choose the situation that this story is being told within. Nothing was done to you, okay? And then when the playwright does choose all those things, the actors, they make choices about how they're going to play with it and how they're going to utilize it. And that's where my 8-year-old self went a slightly perhaps different route, or who knows, maybe that's what was expected. I don't know. But the 8-year-old character at that point, just like an actor on the stage in the middle of a scene that the playwright, when they wrote it, they envisioned it happening one way. But in that moment, the actor made a different choice. And they played that moment the best way they could in that moment. And they utilize what they have and make their choices. And they either offer and accept or they block. And we are consciously creating in this field of pure potentiality. We are consciously creating our life for this character that is pure potentiality. You are pure potentiality. No one gets trapped in a body or a circumstance that they are not completely aware of and intentionally came into experience. Okay? So we put a lot of investment in education, in work environments, in our families even, trying to change anyone that doesn't seem to be as what we like people to be like, We love to make things fit. We love to find a reason. We love to find a way that makes us feel better about whatever it is we have or whatever it is we don't have that someone else has. But I think what I want to make sure that we acknowledge here is that as parents, as teachers, as therapists, we can shift from thinking that our role is to fix someone who is born with something that is different, right? Because we're embracing our different. Whatever our different is, we got here with it on purpose, okay? So if we think of our role as helping that human expression reach their full potentiality, not what you think their full potentiality might be, but what they and you can discover together as you embrace it with playful curiosity and joy, and you discover what's actually there, right? Not what you think they should want to do or how you think they should do it, but approach these children, right? Parents, teachers, therapists, and employers, and everyone approach everyone, okay? Not with how you think they should be, but approach them with openness and curiosity and find out. Help them find out. Don't tell them, because you're never going to be right, okay? Don't tell them what their purpose is, what they are here to be, do, and share, but help them discover that and own that and take responsibility for that, because there are no mistakes. I mean, seriously, what if there are no mistakes? What if there are only choices? What if our soulful self came here, chose to incarnate with all the differentness that we have, and we allow that to be the only truth? There are no mistakes. There's nothing that's broken. I have two of my daughters that I adopted were born with invisible disabilities, fetal alcohol syndrome. That's brain damage that they are born with. And they have a choice to choose to spend their entire life being upset about that, angry about that, using it as an excuse, or recognize that they chose this for a reason. They chose this to experience this, to grow through this, to embrace that obstacle and then find out where it takes them. I used to always say to my kids, I still say it to them. Who am I kidding? They may be grown, but I don't ever stop playing mom. One of my favorite phrases when they were younger and they would get frustrated is I would say, and especially if they would get frustrated and they would behave badly, I would say, your diagnosis is an explanation. It is not an excuse. Okay, so it's an explanation. It helps us have understanding about what the situation is here. What are the given circumstances? What is this character got? Not what is this character not got? What is this character got? What are the characteristics of this human being? And now what are we going to do with them? Because they have pure potentiality. The pure potentiality doesn't lie in what you were born with. It lies in what you choose to do with it. And so if there are no mistakes and we can allow ourselves to play curiously with whoever and whatever we are and accept 100% responsibility for creating, for vibrating in alignment with the purpose we can feel well up in us as we imagine what could be. And we relax into the idea that there are no mistakes, and we think and we act and we imagine by choice. And then we choose to consistently show up as a conscious creator. Because the next thing that I think we can do when we're experiencing our pure potentiality is to live with awareness. And first and foremost, to live with awareness that we are creating this. We are creating this life. We are creating this moment. We are creating every single moment as it occurs. We are vibrational beings. We are energy. We are source. Doesn't matter what we call it. Energy is vibrating. That's why I say we are vibrational beings, right? All the molecules in your body vibrate. We know that. Scientifically, we know that. We didn't know that hundreds of years ago, but we know that now. We know that when we say we are energy, when we say that we are vibrational beings, that's not just hyperbole. That's for reals. Every molecule in your body is vibrating. And There is space between the molecules in your physical body, and we can choose how we want those molecules to vibrate. We can find alignment with our soulful self, with who we truly are, by choosing the thoughts that will help us to find our frequency of vibration. So in your pure potentiality, when you find how you want to show up, choose how you want to literally vibrate into your space. And can you get everything to resonate with that vibration? Is it joy? Is the vibration that you want to bring joy and gratitude and love? Find the love. Hello. That's a foundational thing, right? So when you find that love, how do you express that love? How do you vibrate love? We can choose. Humans choose. Unlike any other creature on the planet, we have the awareness to be able to consciously, intentionally change our thought. We can change our frequency of vibration. Now, I say humans are the only creatures on the planet, but I don't know, dolphins and whales and there are lots of other creatures on the planet that are really super, super smart and sensitive. And in honor to them, maybe they've got it going on better than we have. But let's just say, okay, whether or not any other creatures on the planet can do this, human beings definitely can. So let's own that. Let's take 100% responsibility for that and choose the thoughts that we have. When we are vibrating at a frequency that is not joyful, that is not playful, that is not filled with wonder, that is not allowing our imagination to flourish, that is not allowing us to embrace our different, then we are choosing to stay there if we are vibrating there. If we are feeling that, it's a vibrational thing. It's a frequency thing. We can shift it. We can choose. We know what belief is. Belief is just thoughts we keep thinking. It's thoughts that we repeat until they become part of the mythology that makes up our world for us. And we have beliefs, but if we apply our awareness to the belief, if we apply our curiosity to the belief, we can find those beliefs that we are willing to let go of. Like that, I am limited. Like that, I'm not as good as somebody else. I guarantee you that whatever you are not good at, whatever does not come easy to you, whatever you can look at someone else and say, they are so good at that, and I can't do that at all. There is an equal number of things, and maybe even more, that they would have the same reaction when looking at you. Anything that you can look at and say, I don't have, there are so many I do haves that can just wash that away if you'll let it. Where are you putting your focus? Where are you choosing to vibrate? What are you choosing to be curious about? And if you're not curious about anything, let's shift that first. Okay? Curiosity is what helps us play. It's what helps us imagine. It's what helps us make connections. And your pure potentiality is about your connection with your soulful self. So when you are curious, when you are exploring, where you are playing, when you are imagining, that is how you are making the connections. Because the true reality is we're not talking about future potential. Potential is not eventual. Potential is what we notice and bring into reality right now. You have so much available to you, I promise, so do I, so does everybody, that we don't use in every moment. So let's own that and know that some of the things we choose not to use, but we can choose to use so much more than we do. We have immense untapped potential. It gives us our creativity. It gives us our intuition. It gives us our ability to innovate, to create. So take your thoughts, take your feelings, focus them, play in your imagination. Allow your intuition to be a real thing. Allow those perceptions, whether they are seeing auras or knowing something or hearing something or seeing something in your mind's eye, whatever it is, whatever the awareness, whatever the intuition is that you possess, and however it comes to you, realize that this is a technology. It's just a technology of a human. If you haven't turned on your intuition and you haven't started to play there and be curious there, then think of it like if everybody on the planet has a laptop, but some people don't know they have a laptop. And some people can see they have a laptop and maybe they've opened it, but they never plugged it in. They don't know how to charge it. And some people have opened it and charged it and they can see stuff and they have no idea how to do anything with it. Everybody on the planet has their own intuition, psychic, if you will, whatever, has their own intuition laptop. Everybody on the planet, everybody is connected to their soulful self. And that's all that is. Okay. That is all that is. It is a technology that is present in the human experience that you have that intuition, just like you have your imagination, just like you have thought, just like you have feeling, you also have your intuition. And the more that you treat all of those things as one big playground, the more you can create, the more you can innovate, and the more you can create consciously because you're purposefully, intentionally taking the responsibility. You are offering the connecting of all of those. You are offering the treatment of all of those as one thing. We are timeless, ageless, limitless, soulful expressions in a human form. We are spiritual beings. We are vibration incarnate in a body. Just means the vibration slowed down. And we, as Dr. Seuss says, we went splat and compressed into this human form. It all sounds so loud and smashy when she says it, but we compressed into this human form. And we know everything we need to know if we allow ourselves to know it. We have everything we need to have if we allow ourselves to utilize it. We are everything we meant to be. I never say that we are meant to be because that sounds like somebody meant it from outside of us. Nope. We are everything we meant to be. And we meant to be here experiencing. We need to move from belief, and you've heard me say this before. We need to move from belief. We need to move from the things we think we know, from the habits of mind, because those habits of mind are where we get our limitations from, and limitations are the opposite of infinite possibility, right? So we need to transcend those perceived limitations. And so we need to choose specifically, consciously, what our beliefs are. And then we need to remember that belief is just thought, but that is not an offer. We can be offering thought to ourselves, but we're not offering it out into our life. That takes action. And faith, the difference between belief and faith is belief is a thought. Faith is belief with action. You are taking action. That's why we say a leap of faith, because it requires you to move forward. And remember, acting is active. Faith is active. You take an act of faith. Belief is a habit of thought, and we don't need to keep thinking the same things about what we cannot be, what we cannot have. We need to be curious enough to find new thoughts. We need to commit that we are going to trust the text within. There's a whole podcast episode I did called Trusting the Text Within, right? Because all of us like to look outside ourselves, look to ancient texts, and actors do lots of research, right? They trust the text. But for this production, for this play that you are writing here on the great stage of life, the only text is right inside. It's in that connection to your soulful self. So trust the text within. Get curious about it. Dig deep. There is always more to know about you. There is always more for you to discover. There is always more for you to uncover. There is always another layer of gunk to shake off more chrysalis to crack, whatever you want to call it. There's a higher level for you to vibrate at. You have to choose to play full out. You are limitless. You are boundless. You have everything that you need, and you have unlimited access to everything. Our limitations are in our thoughts, but we are pure potentiality. Our limitations are in our thoughts. I'm saying that again on purpose. They are our choice. You know it. You've seen it time and time again. We choose how we respond. That's our 100% responsibility, right? Our talent lies within our choice. Our success lies within our choice. We know that. As players here on the great stage of life, we know that. We've seen it time and time again that when we choose our thoughts, we choose how we are experiencing the potential of any given moment. We have seen horrible things happen to two different people, and one makes it a tragedy and one makes it a triumph. We've seen that time and time again. So in your life, in my life, in all of our lives, we are here to choose. We're here to choose to offer. We're here to learn not to block. We're here to choose to accept everything that is happening for our pure potentiality. We have to accept that everything that is happening for our pure potentiality. This is your chance to play this character full out. This right now, not next week, not tomorrow, right now. It's always right now. This moment is full of pure potentiality. If you are having a thought, if you are having a whatever, that's when you push the pause button. Allow yourself to take that second and let that idea flourish. Let that notion, let that perception, let that intuition flourish. Because it's only limited if you believe that it's your job to limit it. Okay? If you believe that and remember, belief is just a thought. If you believe that that thought is not worthy, that that thought is not the one, then that is the way you will treat it. But treat it as magical. Treat it as a curiosity. Treat it as a playground. Treat every moment, every offer that comes into your life with curiosity. What if? What if this is it? What can this turn into? Ooh, I wonder why I just put this block in my life because, what am I going to get from this one? What am I going to learn from this one? Where's the gift in this? What is happening here? Pure potentiality. Own it, love it, play with it, find the joy in it, and have a beautiful, glorious, blessing-filled life. Okay? All right, my beauties. Thank you so much for coming and hanging with me, and I will talk to you again soon. The Spontaneous Brilliance Podcast is brought to you by Miracle Communications Group. Our producer is Michelle Oneida. Sound engineer is Corey Michaels at Corey Michaels Productions. Music is composed by Rex Miller. And I'm your host, Sandra Kavanaugh. You can learn more about me and all things Spontaneous Brilliance at sandrakavanaugh.com or spontaneousbrilliance.com. And please join the conversation here at the Spontaneous Brilliance Podcast by emailing us at podcast@spontaneousbrilliance.com.